You are biologically wired to be generous. You are wired for multiple levels of connection, to give and to grow, to expand in group connection. You continually renew yourself and the world around you when you are in generative exchange with others. And despite any disconnection from past stress or trauma, your fundamental nature is continual creative collaboration. That's generosity, and that's your nature. You are biologically wired for multiple levels of human connection, a layered exchange of collective relational rhythms that expand life, like the feeling of cherished belonging growing up, that readies the way to developing the active friendships that we grow into. Shared challenge and inspiration, coming together as an adventurous team, dancing to a mutual beat in rhythm, moving in creative dedication, purposeful group determination for goodwill and for the health of humanity, the united partnership of those you rely upon for your well-being and meaningful connection and hope for the future together as family. Our ability for that back and forth rhythm shapes our bonds continuously in new ways, weaving the interconnective threads that build greater relationship and lead to your exponential transformation. But sometimes the unconscious conflicts of the past, early life body memories of hidden chronic arousal, fight, flight, freeze, can block the bridge to your future transformation by invisibly binding the mind and emotions to the past when you've missed growing up with the guidance that supports you in knowing what it means to work together, to coordinate, to lead, and to follow, to exchange, explore, and build, feeling solid, secure, and open, yet challenged, expanding life in relationship with one another. What heals the past are new healthy rhythms of human-to-human interconnection, shared interest that not only encourages a grounded felt sense of safety, but cultivates a more meaningful, expansive future filled with generosity, collaboration, and love. In cycle 4 of expansive listening, collaborative contact, it is the back and forth rhythm of reciprocity and the generosity that arises from that rhythmic exchange that allows you and others to become something greater, more whole than the sum of your parts. In collaborative contact, you cross the bridge from cycles 1 through 3 with the gifts you've developed of self-mastery and self-regulation, and you step into new gifts of co-mastery and co-regulation. At a most fundamental level of collaboration and reciprocity, think of the soft newborn tenderly joining the readiness of mother, or the beauty in the flower calling to the bees to proliferate. The brilliance of a devoted conductor masterfully uniting the practiced orchestra, or even the simplicity of the sun and water to the tree. Its nature, instinct, ecology, reciprocity, generosity. There's an inherent exchange, a way of living, of thinking of and being with another that's genuine in the desire to exchange in a way that supports the all, to survive and to flourish. That's reciprocity. Indeed, the word reciprocity can be traced back to the Latin root reciprocus, meaning moving back and forth. It's rhythmic interconnectivity, real-life relationships that don't just sort of have an affinity for one another, but are inextricably linked, interdependent in a way that's very natural, very alive, and generous. In the collaborative contact of cycle 4, these rhythms of reciprocity create partnership for growth. In working together, we clear barriers to healthy exchange and become responsive, not just adaptive, so that together we can uncover new paths of expansion that are something greater, more whole than what we've been before. Cycle 4 is the phase of coming together in an entirely new way, and you've been preparing for it in the important foundation of the first 3 cycles, from seed and root to trunk, branches, and now flower, working toward the greater whole, not just the sum, expanding through the fundamental laws of neuroscience and nature that reflect as the biology of relationship. What is fundamental to your generosity wiring? Can we actually find those generous wires in your brain and body? And when we do, can biological bonding get us on the same page in raising the kids, in healing a love relationship, in taking care of our health, and getting the work team all on board? According to polyvagal theory, one central aspect of our ability to be in thriving partnership together is the social engagement system. 5 cranial nerves that, generously collaborate. As these friendly 5 nerves innervate the face, head, and neck, they orchestrate your social motion, emotion, and communication through your facial expression, eye contact, prosody, that is, vocal tone and expression, and your ability to listen clearly. The social engagement nerves collaborate in the biological sending and receiving of signals of emotional connection and safety. I feel safe. Are you feeling safe? When you're safe, I'm safe. Let's talk. It's a biological signal, and there's less stress and static between us. This collaborative orchestration of safety and communication supports the proficiency to be in social cohesion in a group and in other interactive and intimate settings. When we are feeling safe, I can see, feel, and hear you better. It's biological, not conscious, where reduced stress allows each of us to take in who you are, what you need, and what you are communicating at a deeper level, setting us up for potential generous collaboration. According to Dr. Stephen Porges, polyvagal theory founder, this shared nervous system is baked into our evolutionary past, not just as something we desire or want, but as a critical need. Dr. Porges states it's a biological imperative because it's precisely through rhythmic exchange together that the body, brain, and heart are guaranteed survival and growth. The shared signaling of specific cues of safety, a softer eye gaze, a melodic voice, the slightest tilt of the head, and a listening that's open. Remember the readiness of mother for infant, waiting to gaze softly and sing sweetly, and you'll know the essence of biological safety. These cues of safety allow the 2 nervous systems to co-regulate their autonomic state, reducing stress and regulating homeostasis so that body, brain, and heart can focus their efforts on building multiple rhythms of strength, vulnerability, and openness together, shaping and choreographing the path of growing a healthy relationship into a more generous, complex whole. If the nervous system isn't primed for that interaction, that generosity, if it doesn't have a nervous system template for it, that is, the early life body memory of full, safe, rhythmic social exchange, then the feeling of interconnectivity can be unfamiliar. Being closely engaged in a group or with an intimate partner can feel uncomfortable, awkward, flat, conflictual, or even strained. Or there may not even be a real desire to socially exchange. It may be easy to miss reading cues from others and to respond to your own inner cues, and to social signals that support being able to make solid decisions with ease, alone and in a group. And it's not conscious, unconsciously defended in fight, flight, freeze reactions, with a silent inability to feel safe with others. Relational accessibility becomes diminished with less ability to give and to receive. And that loss of accessibility is also not conscious. There may even be a deep desire to be in secure relationship, yet somehow it always seems to remain just out of reach. But when the social engagement system is in balance, social communication and exchange becomes effective, spontaneous, inspired, and vibrant. We feel safe, anchored, calm, but also energetic, alert, present, responsive, and fully accessible in relationship. Conflict and threat reactions in ourselves or others are more easily mitigated and redirected towards swift resolution and a return to co-regulation. For some of you, it may help to know the specific nerves in the face, head, and neck in the social engagement system and their specific functions, to understand the social nature of collaborating in a group and one-on-one. You may be a somatic therapist working with the nervous system, a craniosacral therapist, or work in the field of whole medicine or narrative medicine, or you simply want to be more sensitively tuned to the body because you prefer natural ways to tend to your health. Keep in mind this listing includes just some of the motor and sensory functions. These nerves have vast functions, and right now our reference point is social engagement and the back and forth voice and facial cues needed for safe, rhythmic vocal communication, body communication, emotion, and listening. Cranial nerve 5, the trigeminal, innervates the muscles of mastication, including those for chewing, grinding, swallowing, and speaking, and are wired to help downregulate the heart. The trigeminal is also involved in retracting the jaw, closing the mouth, and in facial expression. Cranial nerve 7, the facial, filters low-frequency sounds to be able to hear the human voice. This allows you to attune to and lend deeper attention in communicating. The facial nerve is involved in facial expression as well. It regulates a muscle in your eyelid and one in your middle ear simultaneously. This creates a strong connection for eye contact as a pathway to deeper listening to a human voice. Cranial nerve 9, the glossopharyngeal, is involved in voice and voice tone through branches that create proper tone of the pharynx and larynx muscles. In cranial nerve 10, the vagus, ventral or upper branches also innervate these muscles, as well as the tongue and ear. It's important to note here that while you may have come to understand the vagus nerve via its dorsal branch in the abdomen as kind of a lead singer, just remember that the social engagement system includes an entire backup band of nerves that, together, create the true experience and emergence of relational flowering and fullness. Finally, cranial nerve 11, the spinal accessory, is involved in orienting our senses towards the source of stimulation by turning and rotating the head. This action enables you to position yourself in relationship to your social environment for safety and for social engagement. You can think of the social engagement system like a flower. It emerges from layers of coordinating bodily processes in creative, generous collaboration. It is an invitation for life exchange. In the grand collaboration of the social engagement system as an internal biological entryway, relationship is cultivated to shift from unyielding defense and protection to the accessibility of connection, to the pliable unfolding bloom of interconnectivity. Healing the relational body memory of chronic arousal, we attend to the quality of the process together and not to doing in order to achieve. The process of increasing interdependence, interconnectivity visible in the petals of a flower, which have opened naturally to become a whole that is greater than the sum of its parts. If we want great relationship, then we need the patience and time it takes for petals not to be pushed, but instead to learn to trust that we are developing clear relational ecology. And at its core, this ecology is generosity. In Cycle 4, Collaborative Contact, we learn that reciprocity includes an unconscious biological bonding that is the underlying fabric of the group dynamic, the social engagement system, where co-regulation feeds healthy relational exchange. We come together each as threads that weave the fabric, firm and aligned, yet ready to expand and broadcast our bold colors in concert together. Instead of seeing parts or pieces, we weave the underlying interconnective thread of intelligence that allows collaboration to emerge. We work with the inseparable continuity that connects us all, nurturing the process of the field where the whole is greater. From the simplicity of the seed and root emerges the multiplicity expressed through the flower. In this ever-present field of interconnected movement and reciprocity, the richness which arises comes not from achieving or conquest, but because nature exists in process only as an interconnected system, never in separation. This is nature's collaboration at its most generous. We are in cycle number 4 of expansive listening, collaborative contact. And Dr. Mark, you know that it takes compassionate listening and partnership with a number of practitioners in order to amplify a patient's progress.
Absolutely. I just think, one-on-one is great, and expand it, grow it, similar thoughts, energies, all coming together around this individual just goes better.
It takes a multi-member team.
Team is always the answer, and team can be 2 people. Doubles tennis, but a multi-member team just keeps going higher and higher.
You have on board with you a number of standard medical specialists and also a lot of practitioners of natural therapies too. So tell me what you do for a patient in terms of working with a team.
Oftentimes they need a specialist, some sort of specialist, whether it's an integrative specialist or it's a specialist in the medical world to fix something in ear, nose, and throat, a surgeon to take something out. But when things are done from a depleted state as opposed to a expanded full state, it goes so much better in the expanded full state when energy levels are high. So let's increase the energy, whether it's with an IV, whether it's with acupuncture. Let's increase the energy and do a specific intervention that fixes a focal problem.
You've had experience of craniosacral therapy with me, and Mark, you just take it all right in. And tell me what changes for you when you get a session.
I mean, those times on the table with you, whether it's craniosacral or you're working around my heart, there aren't words for it, but it's, I guess the word is expansion, and it's being coming from a place of fullness as opposed to an empty tank. I love the craniosacral, and I love feeling the rhythm of the craniosacral fluid. There is just a healing that's so deep and so profound, and I remember those times on that table.
You always got off the table with more energy, more relaxation, and you and I were definitely in the field together, whether it was the cranial work or it was more visceral work, but it was always a good session.
I love, we kind of slugged it out, talked about whatever the issues were. Then at the end, there was this expanded, connected healing and growth and calmness and deepening. So it wasn't just about the words, but the feeling and energy of the contact that's offered with hands-on and with the body while understanding these concepts. It's just profoundly deeper and more lasting.
Mark, we brought a family member to you who we had taken to the acupuncturist because they'd come to visit, and immediately I noticed there was a symptom that I thought really needed to be checked out immediately. And so we went to the acupuncturist, and then the acupuncturist, thankfully, Andrea said, you need to go to a physician. So we came to you immediately then too. And right away, you knew exactly what to do, where to go, and we ended up solving together, as in collaboration, something that actually was life-threatening, and we turned it into total positive and got it on its way to being managed, under control, and basically, at least at this level, healed for the time being.
My role is to calm down the nervous system, just like it is yours to calm down the sympathetic nervous system, to bring peace. The body only receives when it's calm. It's always the first thing.
How did you know exactly who to turn to on your team to go, okay, this is we need to go to Dr. Haywood next?
And I would say somewhat spiritual. I mean, he's the best guy in town. He's great. And how it worked out, I got him in, and that's where miracles are. The patient's valued, and how can I get him in? How can we fix that person as quickly as possible?
You're used to working with the team, and you're used to...
I'm a triage person. That's primary care. How do we get the person to the right place at the right time and do the right things?
Primary care, all about collaboration.
It is.
Please join us next session for 5-cycle contact, the final unified phase, cycle 5.